Everyone, Glenn Sanford here, and this is our expansion podcast where we talk about personal professional development here at EXP. And today, I'm excited to talk to Cory Williams. He's actually a three-time ICON agent out of Denver, Colorado. Cory, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Glenn. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited to have a conversation today.
Well, awesome. So you've been in the business 8 years. It looks like, and I'm just taking a guess here. We didn't talk about this too much, but it looks like you've had a trademark beard for quite some time. I assume this predates real estate, but tell me about, you obviously wear this very, very bold. What's the story about the beard?
Yeah, thanks. Actually, it's a COVID beard, so pretty simple and
So it's a newer
easy.
beard.
It's a newer beard. Yeah. So I kind
Okay.
of kept it high and tight before, like let it breathe and feel that mountain air. And my wife and I were working on a fix and flip right as COVID hit. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking a little scruffy. And she's like, hey, we're in lockdown, just let it grow and see what happens. And, I can't grow it up here for some reason anymore. So I'm like, okay, let's give it a shot. And so this is what happened. And I do Santa photos now with my clients. And so we have a lot of fun with it. And I'm like, hey, if I can grow hair still, it's a little salt and pepper here, but yes, it has become a trademark, and it kind of has its own personality. I joke it has its own zip code, but anywhere you go, people love the beard. So myself included, I enjoy, like I said, having hair again. So it's great.
Awesome. Well, there's an agent, EXP in I think he's in UK, Ben Moore, and he's the agent with a beard, and he actually
Okay.
uses that as his trademark as well. So not many people are willing to wear that big a beard, but when you do, it's memorable and notable. So.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. And, big guy, big beard, and being here in the Rocky Mountains, it fits well. So
Fits well. There you go. So, how did you get into real estate? What got you? What's your background? I think you've been in the industry for 8 years or so, but what got you into it?
yeah, so I'm just now realizing half my time has been at EXP, and wow, what a great decision that was to make the move. But looking back, I sort of was growing up, always was remodeling houses with my dad, and he always says I was kind of the supervisor. I like to say I did some work here and there, but was kind of had that construction sort of itch. And so as I got out of college and moved out to Colorado, I was working in cubicles, and I'm not a cubicle guy. And so I was doing inbound customer service type of stuff for buy.com and things of that nature. And somebody approached me once and said, hey, we've got an opportunity to install countertops. And I'm like, is there other opportunity? Yeah, you could have a sales position, you could grow and learn. Okay, great. So then I get into construction, worked my way through several stone fabrication companies, leadership tiers. So from sales associate to sales manager and that type of thing. And then I got recruited by a general contractor, and he said, what do you know about general construction? I said, I know quite a bit. And so started remodeling kitchens, bathrooms, had my own carpentry business. So I was what was considered a bags on carpenter, and also coordinating the rest of the job. And I just worked for a lot of people that maybe I really wasn't aligned with ethically. And I say, hey, those are business decisions that I wouldn't necessarily make if I had my own business. And so I said, man, I really would like to do something for myself and my family. And I said, what do I know the most about? Houses. Okay, great. Well, I'll just sell those. And so nights and weekends started getting my real estate license. And, the day came where it was just like, okay, it's time to make that transition. And so jumped right into real estate, took all of those existing relationships that I had built. I say a bags on carpenter, project supervisor, whatever you want to call it. I was basically the chief relationship builder for every company that I worked for. And so I said, I can do this now for myself. And so I just sort of took all of those relationships that I had worked so hard to build over the course of a decade and a half, and just started engaging with those folks in a kind of new and interesting way. And so just stayed engaged with the networking, stayed engaged with those relationships, continued to contribute to those relationships. And one thing led to another, and built an amazing real estate business. Now I run a team of agents. So it has been that path and that conduit that has allowed me to sort of spread my wings, and really discover really the highest and best use of my time and new and exciting ways to serve people.
Well, awesome. No, thank you for that. And obviously, you're a very articulate person as well, sort of describing that journey. You mentioned a real estate team, and I think you've got what, about 20 agents or so on your team. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So how does that how does your team work? What's your lead gen strategy? How do you coach and consult your agents to bring their relationships to and their personalities to those relationships? How does that all sort of work?
Yeah, great question. And I love talking about this because, you and I are, in terms of the background that we have, and the way that we've sort of built our real estate business. And of course, now you've moved beyond that, but is much different. So I'm not an internet lead guy. I've tried uh, engaging in that way. That's not really my space in my wheelhouse. So for me, it's face to face, belly to belly. I know we get there with internet leads, but I like to get there much quicker. And so what I do is I coach my team on how to build a business the way that I built a business because that's the way I know. So I'll kind of table that for a second because we have built some systems, and I've partnered with a co-team lead that can help in that space. But for me, what I am showing people how to do is how to build relationships from a concept of giving first, from a concept of contribution. Give first, and then and only then will you be in a position to receive. And so, really showing agents how to engage, whether that would be, hey, here's how to engage with different social groups, whether it's church, maybe it's a running club. What are you passionate about? Yoga, hiking. I'm in moms groups. I love supporting this type of environment. And so showing them a way to engage and to give first by contribution. So I'll give you an example. A lot of people would say, hey, if you're going to a networking group, you got to go in there, you got to collect all these cards, and you want to find somebody that's looking to buy or sell or that could refer someone to you. Well, I say that is not the right approach. what I coach people to do in a setting like that is to go in there and find 2, 3 businesses that you can support. Find someone that you're excited about what they're doing and you can tell others about that. Find someone that you can add to your your Rolodex, for lack of a better phrase, that anytime someone asks, you can say, yes, I've got the perfect person for that. And so really building this network of individuals that you can really get excited about referring and supporting. And so that's the approach that I really coach, is to build those databases from a contribution standpoint. And then I'm coaching my agents to host events, having parties, whether it's at a park. I like to invite people into my home personally. So there's different ways to engage in that, whether that's community involvement, hosting different events where you pick a charity and everybody gets to support that. I'm getting ready to have a cornhole tournament at my house. This doesn't need to be complicated. Let's just get together, have fun. And for me, that's a great way to stay top of mind with the people that are in your sphere and in your database. So that's the approach that has worked for me. It's the way that I know how to build a business that's sustainable and that can last a lifetime if you continue to contribute to those relationships. And then on the other side, what we've done is, we love KV Core. I used it until we sort of kind of built the team out a little bit more. And then we had some additional needs that we thought we would have. And then we wanted to bring the team in. So we moved to Follow Up Boss. And so we have invested in some leads for our agents to kind of get them what they call a seat in Follow Up Boss, where we can bring that agent in, we can see what they're doing, we can hear the calls that they're making, we can coach them individually on that. We can help them to put together different marketing campaigns to stay in touch with not only their database, but of course now this becomes part of their database. And just having conversations and again, using that same concept of giving first, contributing, adding value, not soliciting, but rather always having something that you can give a value. And people say, well, what's that mean? Is that a market update or something of that nature? Well, you got to ask a lot of questions to find out what's valuable to someone. So then that's the next piece, is like coaching agents on the right questions to ask and the right sequence of sort of when it's time to say, hey, should we go ahead and start looking at homes? Should we go ahead and get you involved with the lender and get that pre-qualification? And so understanding that sort of flow of a transaction and flow of the conversations, and when it makes the most sense to, take some steps forward, again, to add value to that client and where they're at in their process.
Awesome. There's a lot there. One question. I know that it's based on the questions and getting feedback from your prospective clients. But if you were to look at the items of value, which items of value come up most often as things that are delivered to your prospective clients? Is it a comparative market analysis, or is it something entirely outside of the normal real estate?
I'll start really broad, right? Education. So we'll start really broad there. So let me give you an example. So let's just say a buyer, and then we'll talk about sellers, but let's say a buyer. Well, it's kind of like eating an elephant. And how do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so while we want to deliver information like, hey, here's the A to Z list of how we're going to get you from where you're at now to turning the key on your new home. But let's take a step back. I want you to understand all of that. But let's take a step back and eat this elephant together, one bite at a time. So making sure that they're educated along the way, and then understanding. So as I'm diving with questions, right, and people are saying, I don't even know, I'm relocating from another state, I don't know anything about Denver, I don't know anything about the surrounding areas, I don't know if I should do new construction or resell or anything like that. And so then it's like, okay, perfect. Now we can have a conversation educating them on the pros and cons of new construction versus a resale, how the contracts differ. So now we're starting to put a base of knowledge in their mind, and we're building trust with them to show them that we understand the market. Now, I love data, statistics, to understand, hey, we've got to keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening in the market, because that's how we negotiate for our clients. That's how we position them properly. So all of that stuff is important, but it must be in context. So, for buyers, I would just say contextual conversations that are based on, what concerns they may have, previous experiences they might have had with other agents that weren't positive, previous experiences they had that were positive, and how we can build upon that. So that would be a snapshot sort of the buyer side in how those conversations might evolve and how we would build value and add value. And then for sellers, because of my construction background and those strong relationships that I built over the course of 15, 20 years now, I'm able to provide information to my client. Hey, Cory, we got water coming in through the window in the basement. Who do we call? Hey, we're thinking about upgrading the kitchen. Like, where do we start? And does it make sense? Because we might stay here for another 5 years and then sell. And so being a resource for all things home is where I want to be with my sellers. It doesn't matter to me if you're selling the house or not. Like, if something is going to happen at your home, I want people to give me a call. I don't care if you work with my guys or anything like that, but what I want to do is just be a resource and a guide, and make sure that if there are questions, if there is an opportunity to engage with them in a specific way. They might say, gosh, it's the kitchen, but there's a larger issue there. And they say, maybe if we just sold it, it would make more sense, instead of us taking the $50,000 and putting it into the kitchen. So conversations like that can happen. So that consultative approach. But on the sell side, and people that have existing homes, I really want to be that one-stop resource for them to just give them sound advice, and potentially help them make some decisions. It might mean ROI on their investment. It might just be talking through some certain things about, hey, should I hire a general contractor? Could I hire 2 separate subcontractors on my own here? Kind of manage the project myself a little bit and save a few bucks. So does that kind of give you a pretty good idea of the differences that we might have in terms of value for situational opportunities?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you meet them where they're at. A lot of it is education based. It sounds like, and which makes sense. I mean, the reality is that the items of value a lot of times is just an understanding of something that they don't understand, that you understand way more than they do. So it makes a ton of sense. So um, obviously been with you're a three-time icon with EXP. You've been with EXP since 2019. What was it that got your attention? I think you were at maybe Coldwell Banker and Windermere, and I'm not sure if any place else, but those are in my notes. But what was it that attracted you to EXP?
Yeah, this one is really near and dear to my heart. And so, I was on a team at Coldwell Banker. The team bought a Windermere franchise, and really awesome team leaders helped me get started in the business, and so grateful for that. But what I saw was that overhead that really started changing all the decisions that they made. And, and I said, wow, here they are. They bought this franchise. They were like the number one team in Denver. And now I'm seeing them struggle and quite frankly, change the way that they ran the team and the way that they engage with the agents. And and I came into this business knowing that I wanted to start a team. So I started a team there at Windermere, and I just saw the agents on my team. I'm like, there's just got to be a better way. I just feel like I'm taking a lot and I don't have a lot of resources to be able to give back. And so that's when I started to look around a little bit. And I saw the same thing everywhere. Franchise model, here's how you build the
Right.
team, this is how you're going to do it. And then I saw EXP, right? And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is perfectly aligned with. I'll go way back to our conversation where I said, ethically, I'm just not aligned with the people that I'm working for. If I was going to make a business decision, it would be different. And so this was my opportunity. This was my opportunity to put my agents on the same level as me. I don't want to be above anyone. I don't want to be the boss of anyone or anything like that. I want people to grow and build alongside me. I want to lock arms and build something together. And so with EXP, I saw that. I saw the model that was perfectly aligned. Now, you're the one that created this, but I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. And so I saw freedom, I saw opportunity, and I saw alignment with the way that I wanted to structure my team and the way that I wanted people within my organization to build and grow with me. So it was a very simple and easy decision to make. And so it was just a matter of kind of never burn a bridge, making sure that we exited properly from Windermere and made the transition right before shareholders in 2019.
Okay, awesome. Well, Cory, hey, thanks for joining me on the podcast here today. I learned a lot. I know agents that listen to this will learn as well. The fact that you're service oriented, givers gain, give in order to be in a position to receive all makes a ton of sense. If you're not adding value first, I think that's what I got out of this: is add value first, and the rest will take care of itself. Um, you mentioned living the dream early on when we first started talking earlier, but that's actually the name of your website, livingthedreamexp.com. Cory, thank you so much for joining me today on this podcast.
Thank you, Glenn, for having me. Make it a great day.